Welcome to this episode of The Roll Up. It's been an interesting couple of months since I last recorded, so a few notes was that Triple H took control of WWE Creative, and him and Stephanie were in charge of it, with Nick Khan being the COO, I believe, or CEO, one of the two. But primarily just going to be the one writing the checks. Well, right now, it's a lot more different than that because Vince McMahon reportedly returned, not to creative, but just to oversee the sale of the company. There's a rumor, and I say rumor because it probably is true, but I mean we won't know the truth until somebody big reveals it. But he said that he would bankrupt the company if they didn't let him do this. So yeah, it's a messy situation. Like I know there are people talk about Disney, Amazon, and NBC Universal, Amazon, and Netflix being like some of the top tier people. So yeah, they're the ones who are looking to. Yeah, it's just not like a fun be in WWE at this point. But that's not the only thing going on this Friday from Center Stage to Georgia. Impact has their Hard to Kill pay-per-view event, which card is actually pretty interesting. Josh Alexander versus Bully Ray, Full Metal Mayhem, which is their TLC match for their World Championship, which I mean, this is going to be me making predictions. Alexander should retain that because I would be shocked if they took off him right now when he is an absolute tear as champion. He had a 60-minute classic with Mike Bailey 2 weeks ago, and God, if you go and watch that, it is just a beautiful match. So yeah, I expect Alexander to retain. Possibly big debut. I can say big debut, but I don't know how big of a debut it'll be, so I had to guess. I know Jay White's supposed to be done with New Japan, or his contract's coming up and they haven't agreed to a new deal, so perhaps he challenges next? I don't know. Hard to truly answer right now. But next up would be versus Mickey Grace for the Impact Knockouts Championship. Fun little tagline for this: title versus career. Because Mickey James has said this was her quote unquote last rodeo. And yeah, so Mickey James loses, she leaves wrestling. And if Jordan Grace loses, she loses the title. So both of them are, can't really give a prediction except for maybe a dusty finish. Maybe somebody gets involved or something like that. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of because both women have been doing damn good stuff. So, yeah. It's an interesting match that I'm looking forward to. Jonathan Gresham versus Eddie Edwards. This is interesting because Gresham signed with Impact, and yeah, we all remember how he was with AEW and then Ring of Honor. Not then, but AW ROH. Back when Khan decided he needed to get another company. Yeah, I'll talk on that later because we got some interesting things I want to say about it. But this match is pretty much going to be a technical masterpiece. Like, I expect it to be Gresham winning, so might see something happen that could signal a heel turn for somebody or a face turn. I don't know. Motor City Machine Guns versus Heath and Rhino versus the major players, Matt Cardona and Brian Myers versus Bullet Club, Ace Austin and Chris Bay. And it is a four-way tag elimination match for the Impact World Tag Team Championships. This match is the one I'm looking forward to because Ace Austin and Chris Bay, they took part in New Japan's Super Junior Tag League. I forget what the full name of it is called. I do apologize for that. But some clips I was seeing from them, whew, if they can do half of that, I think they're going to have a very good reign as tag champs. Yes, I do think they're going to win. Like, they're both young and you can easily build up around them. Eventually split them up and you have just a few that nobody's going to be able to really top. Then the newly turned heel Trey Miguel versus Black Taurus for the Impact X Division Championship. This is going to be a tough one. Like, Taurus is good, but he's also been a jobber, so, like, that's how he's been coming off last. So, yeah, I don't know who's winning this one except for if Taurus wins. This has to be the start of something big, or it's going to be a short reign, maybe a day or two. I don't know. If they keep it on Miguel, they need to get a good face, and then there's not a whole lot that you could do with that right now. Then Diana Prazzo versus Killer Kelly versus Masha Slamovich versus Taylor Wilde, essentially determining the number one contender for the Knockouts Championship. I mean, reports are Diana's going back to WWE, and I mean, there's also things that it's been going on, like Chelsea Green and all that, so I don't know what's going to happen. The only thing I can really say is, depending on who comes out, wins that might give us an answer to the answer of who will win between Mickie James and Jordan Grace. But if it's Killer Kelly or Masha Slamovich, odds are they're getting involved. Which, that's a fun little idea. Then you have Joe Henry versus Moose for Impact's Digital Media Championship. Its title is probably the best creation in a long time. It's not. It's dependent on BTI. Dependent on. It's dependent at indie promotions like Wrestling Revolver and areas like that. And they always put those up on YouTube afterwards, so it's a good idea. So might be a good time to give it to Moose, but otherwise I think it's gonna be Henry. They were Rich Swann versus Steve Macklin. Yeah, the answer is Macklin all the way. He has to get a big push at this point, doing damn good work. Then AAA and AEW drama. So a while back, there were some reports from Mexico that AAA wasn't happy with a lot of things that AEW was doing. Like, they stripped Sammy Guevara and intergender or mixed tag team championships, whichever title they call it. And they said claims, but AEW also told them it's a messy situation right now. Like, the only one who they care, and that's been something else that is pretty telling. Like, they don't want to put the titles on Americans against new talent at the very least. But if Omega were to go back to Mexico, he'd be given the title. Like, that says a lot about how Triple. And I don't know if it's exactly a good thing or a bad thing either. So I guess which it may not even be that. I know I harp a lot on things I don't like about AEW. Something like this it's really hard to put the blame on one person, one company, because like we had in America, we had to freeze the effect the entire country last time. Travel overseas to different states for about 4 or 5 days. That's me being polite. So this is just one of those things where, like, I say maybe Omega kept his word, keeps his words better than Tony Khan. That's not a shot at Tony Khan. That's just me. I know he's the public figure, the person who sits there and says, "Oh, I own AEW, I own Ring of Honor." So it's easy to just use him instead of just saying, like, I don't know, Christopher Daniels, the person in the legal department, Mega, I think her name is. I don't know. But yeah, that's the entire thing. So 9 times out of 10, if I'm insulting Tony Khan, it's just because he's the person who says he owns the company, he's the owner, all that. And I do use this as a segue into my big problems with AEW and coincidentally Ring of Honor. So I'm gonna get hate for this, but AEW's fallen off a cliff at this point. And this isn't me saying that as a Impact fanboy, WWE fanboy, something like that. Like, when you look at it, like, the talent's there, yes. Like, they do have great matches. But there are times when the shows just feel clunky. And to that end, I don't put blame on... Well, I don't put blame on anybody. It just happens. It happens with Impact. I mean, look at their entire 2015 through 17 run. The entire shit, everything there was clunky because you had no idea who'd stay, who'd go. And they taped like 4 or 5 months in, not 4 or 5 months, but like taped like 4 or 5 weeks of episodes, like 2 sittings. And by the time those episodes rolled around, 9 out of 10 people on the episodes were gone. So it happens. So I don't put the blame on Tony Khan or anybody like that. But then I start looking at Ring of Honor, like, and to Tony's credit, like, put the title on Claudio, the big world championship, like, something great for Claudio to have. And to this, I say good call. But then comes the Jericho test, I'll call it. Like, that just... I understand why you did it, but God, could they have not have done barely anything else? Like, don't get me... I like Chris Jericho. I think he is a good wrestler. But to put the belt on him, like, I understand he's a big name, but Ring of Honor's never been one of those things that you need a big name for. And that is me giving them a hell of a lot of credit, because they were a lot like ECW in their heyday. Like, they were big. Yeah, you heard of the Elite. You heard of how great they were, how great Kenny Omega was, Adam Cole, all these different people. But you never expect to see them on, like, USA or TNT. You expect to see them like a Fox channel at noon on Saturdays, and having replays like that very same episode channel on fucking IOP. Like, that's been the biggest thing that Tony Khan doesn't realize with Ring of Honor, like, or at least he didn't. I'll give him another 6 months, see if he puts the title on the stage. Doesn't, he would have learned his lesson, but Ring of Honor's always been that place where you knew you were getting good stuff. You knew it was going to be an hour of wrestling that you would sit and turn on just because you were bored. And you would look at the clock when it starts, let's say you put on 8:55 and just say, screw it, I'll leave this on. When you looked at the clock after it was done, you'd be surprised because it'd feel like 5-10 minutes. And that's always been Ring of Honor's lesson. Like, great stuff, great matches. Backstage stuff was a little iffy, but 9 times out of 10, it was decent enough to where you could ignore it. And after you felt like 10 minutes had passed, you'd realize the show was over, and it was an hour and a half after you started watching it. So, kind of hoping let's Ring of Honor get back to that point. But I'm honestly concerned because he was watching Dark Elevation, and they had Brian Cage was on it. I'm a huge fan of Brian Cage. That's not like I'm saying anything bad about him. But it's always, but it was the right above his nameplate, right as it, and it was part of the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Champion with Gates of Agony. AW has a trios title. Like, and this is my biggest gripe with a lot of decisions, but why aren't the AEW trios titles unified with the six-man titles? Like, you do that, you suddenly have an interesting situation where the trios titles can go on to ROH, and you have a decent enough reason for cross-promotional stuff. Okay? But that's me speaking as a fan, so maybe Tony Khan has ideas for that, just not right now. So I will, like I said, I'll give him 6 months, and I'll take it from there. And I sincerely hope he has everything better. I hope he has something planned for their television. I hope he has something planned for future pay-per-views, all of that. And maybe leave the media scrum stuff in the past, because I don't think it really fits in with Ring of Honor. Like, unless you're doing it like the day before. Let me pull up my notes to make sure. Right. Japan Pro Wrestling Strong. It is ending after the 5th, I think. I forget the exact date, but it's ending. I don't know what that means for the championships created for it. Well, as far as I know, it could even just be a case of them rebranding it as New Japan America. Which, if they're doing that, cool. Like, you can see it touring all over. But either way, it's one of those things that feels odd, because for years you heard New Japan wanting to expand into America. They get it. They do that. Like, and now they're just going to leave. It feels so weird that, like, can't help but wonder if there's a lot more that's not being said about it. So yeah, that's about all I really have for that. Because, like, I need to wait and see what replaces it, if anything, just with those titles. And really just what happens with New Japan America, because CMLL, and Impact. So perhaps there's going to be something more done with those three companies, which, sorry about that, but if that's the case, okay, what are they going to do? How is it going to be done? Is it going to be like a committee or what? Like, just all that fun stuff. And once we know that, we can argue about whether it was worth the effort of even creating New Japan Strong in the first place. But there is another big piece of news I do want to talk about, and it is actually his return and trying to predicate the sale and the whole rumor of him bankrupting the company if they don't let him. Like brought up earlier, not Japan, but Disney, NBC Universal, Netflix, Amazon, things like that. Like names like that are rumored to be the big players in the in sales. They want to do all that. Okay? They want to purchase or whatever. And I've been thinking about it over the past couple of days, and I think if there's going to be a sale, it's going to be to NBC Universal, because as bad as this is going to sound, like if Disney wants to purchase a wrestling company, like they would have done it by now. Like I know people don't want to admit it, but you look at how well Impact's rebuilt their reputation, for example. Like before Scott D'Amore, before Anthem, how he into the Anthem era, and before they brought back Don Callis, Impact was the butt of the joke. Like, oh, who's champion in Impact? I don't know, we'll find out Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, stuff like that. Just because it was so bad that you expected it to go out of business. Even the diehards thought it was about to go out of business. Hell, it almost did. And that's kind of the thing. Like, Disney could have swooped in at that point, purchased TNA, purchased Impact, and they could have done whatever they wanted to with it. And I still think that if they want to get a wrestling company, it's going to be Impact, because as fast as it's going to sound, you have more to do with Impact than WWE or AEW. Because with Impact, yeah, they don't have an official brand, so to say. It's just Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship. So if Disney were to purchase it, they could literally sit there and say, they could add in, like, just throwing it out there, Disney's Wrestling Empire Impact World Championship. Like, they don't need to do much. They just need to have the AW, ECW, WWE, stuff like that. They can do that. They don't change anything for Impact Championships. They're still called Impact. It's going to be under Disney's Wrestling Alliance or Empire, whatever you want to call it. And that's the key thing that people don't want to think about. Like, yeah, Disney purchases WWE. What happens when they change the name? Nobody's going to like it. They're going to think it's stupid. Disney buys Impact. They're just adding in the three-letter brand. And people are going to say, oh, okay. And everything that people, that's everything that really makes, like, Impact and Disney perfect partners. Because you don't need to remove Impact from Access as Disney. You can really have their shows run on it. Can have their shows air on Access, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, whatever, and on other networks. And you can have reruns at certain times. So that's the big thing. Like with WWE, perhaps you could work a deal out with Fox and have SmackDown on Fox, Raw on NBC, have reruns on like FS1 and ESPN, like that. But odds are you're not going to do a whole lot. Like, because, if it goes to Disney, NBC is going to be upset, and they might just pull the plug immediately, forcing Disney to figure out where to put Raw, and having it affect viewership, and eventually leading to a bad case of buyer's remorse. So yeah, there is a sale, and it's not to NBC Universal. Don't expect me to Disney. Like, if Netflix gets a shock, because they are bleeding so much money that, I haven't seen a company this poorly ran as Netflix has become. Because they are losing millions, if not billions, just because they love to cancel shows. Like, they canceled Inside Job, so there's not going to be a season 2, and it's like, it was one of their best rated shows. So yeah, it's just not looking good for them. But that is all the time I have for today. I thank you for listening. I do apologize if it sounded like I was a tad bit more quiet. So things are just going on right now. There's going to be a bad thing sometime soon that I will probably delve into the reasoning more. But until then, it's nothing to be concerned about. I don't talk about on bad things. I'll record a video, I'll send it to Megan, and we can have posted up there so you guys at least know what's going on. But other than that, this has been the roll up, and I thank you. And remember, keep an eye out because there's going to be a lot more stuff coming up with Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania. I mean, there's even a New Japan versus Noah show coming up, like January 20th or something like that. So who knows? Maybe get 2 roll-ups this month. Okay, yeah. I tried to be optimistic, but I almost cracked and started laughing. So yeah, this has been the roll-up. Probably the only one you'll have for up until after WrestleMania, unless something massive happens. So, just want to thank you guys for listening. And remember, you must always watch, because when you get rolled up, it's always a surprise.